The following program contains shocking amounts of primary sources. If you suffer from addiction to rumors, this show might not be right for you. Check with your cheerleading captain.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Another tragedy at the hands of Islam. Scores dead in Pakistan and in Kenya. We will talk about it. Once again, the Arab Spring has produced a harvest of sabers. And Nancy Pelosi, John Boehner, President Obama, they're squaring off. Is the cupboard bare? Not if Nancy Pelosi can go to your cupboard and steal.
It's time now for Down Home with Granny Jihad.
Allah takrabba. Oh, boys and girls, this one is good. Muhammad said, a single endeavor of fighting in Allah's cause is better than the world and whatever is in it. Just think of what Osama bin Laden is enjoying.
Welcome to the program, friend. We begin with heavy tidings from Pakistan. Suicide bombers, Muslim terrorists, devout Muslims went into the All Saints Church in Peshawar, Pakistan. 600 worshipers were there. The bombs were detonated. At least 79 people are known dead at this point, over 100 wounded. This was a terrorist attack that was instigated by the Taliban in retaliation for the joint strikes, primarily run by Americans using drones in Pakistan to kill Islamic terrorists. I want to focus on two elements here. One is the purpose of terrorism, and the other is evangelism, Islam style. Let's start with terrorism. The Taliban is demanding that the U.S. stop drone attacks. And what they are saying here is that they will kill innocent civilians in retaliation for the taking out, the killing with drones of known Islamic terrorists. The purpose of terrorism is twofold. Number one, it is to strike terror into the heart of the public. And number two, it is to alter current government policy. Now, there are other reasons why terrorist attacks occur, but those are two of the main reasons that scholars have determined that terrorist attacks occur. I'll say them again. One is to strike terror into the heart of citizens, not the military per se, but non-combatants. And number two, closely linked, so that there is a change in policy. All right? Terrorism, acts of terror, have been linked with the Islamic faith since the days of Muhammad himself. For example, Muhammad, when he went to Mecca, said, don't kill anybody except for 4 people. And 3 of those people were 1 man and 2 women who had made a mockery of Muhammad in poetry. That was their crime. They mocked him. And so he had them hunted down. 2 of them were killed. 1 of them escaped and was later forgiven. But they were killed simply for writing songs and poetry against Muhammad. So what was the purpose of killing those people? Send a very simple message. Don't mock Muhammad. All right? The government officials of Mecca were all too happy to not have to have open war. And they surrendered the city. Muhammad was able to remove all of the idols of the city, except for the Kaaba, the black rock. And he prevailed in his public policy desire. And it became a crime from that time and even a little bit before it till the present. It became a crime, public policy, to mock Muhammad. Do you understand that? If in any Mohammedan nation, if they mock Muhammad, it is a criminal act, and in some places it's a capital offense. That started with Muhammad himself. The second thing is evangelism. Abu Bakr was Muhammad's first successor, and he said, we led people to Islam, either through preaching or through a threat of their lives. We didn't care which. And so earlier in Pakistan, not this weekend, but earlier, they had Muslim criminals standing outside of a church, harassing Christian girls who were leaving after the services, urging them to become Muslims. There was a concerted effort in Pakistan to throw shop owners out of their rented buildings or throw Christians out of their homes and saying to them, rented homes, saying, you can come back to your home, you can run your business if you convert to Islam. All right? They're following the example of Muhammad's life. They're following the path that was laid out by his early successors in power. This is part and parcel to Islamic evangelism. Evangelism through words, evangelism through fear, evangelism and public policy change through terror. Every day in America, over 3,500 babies are torn apart by abortion. Shouldn't all babies, like this living, unborn child, have the right to life? Baby killing will only end when Americans see the truth of what abortion does to innocent children. You can help end this Holocaust by showing the truth of abortion in your area with a Face the Truth tour. Go to facethetruthamerica.com to set up a Face the Truth tour in your area. The babies and their mothers will be eternally grateful. How would you like to be able to reach hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of potential customers with your product or your company or your web-based business? Well, you can do that right here on this show. Every single day, we get phone calls or letters or orders online from states all over the country where people are watching this television show. Right now, we are seen in 45 cities at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every night, and then a rerun again at 12:30 midnight. You can reach them using this show at advertising rates that are so inexpensive, it would blow your mind. So, if you're interested, contact us at the phone number that you see on the screen or the email address, and we can talk about how you can grow your business and help support this show. Hi friend, I'm Randall Terry. Thomas Jefferson said, "A Bill of Rights is what the people are entitled to against every government, and what no just government should refuse or rest on inference." Welcome back to the program, friend. More heavy tidings, this time from Kenya. At the time of this filming, the Kenyan police and military are saying that they have, in fact, secured the Westgate shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya, the capital. It is unclear if that is true. The reports are that nearly 70 people are dead, over 160 injured. This is, of course, at the hands of devout Islamic mujahideen. These men are from Al-Shabaab, which is based in Somalia, and they are affiliated with Al-Qaeda. As you may remember, we have discussed Somalia before. It is what is called, in international relations parlance, a failed state. It does not have a true central government that will hold its own citizens accountable and can maintain law and order. It is right now a very serious training base, or there are training bases in Somalia for Islamic terrorists. The U.S. estimates that over 50 Americans have gone to Somalia to be trained as Muslim terrorists there. Al-Shabaab released a video a month or two ago with 3 men that said that they were from Minneapolis. They were on camera, and one of them said, and I'm quoting now, "This is the best place to be, honestly. I can only tell you from my experience being here that you have the best of dreams, you eat the best of food, and you're with the best of the brothers and sisters who came here for the sake of Allah. If you guys only knew how much fun we have over here. This is the real Disneyland. You need to come here and join us and take pleasure in this fun." About 5 or 7 days ago, we covered on this program that the current head of Al-Qaeda, Ayman al-Zawahiri, had said to Muslim terrorists around the world, whether you strike in ones or twos or in coordinated strikes, strike America, strike its interests, launch a fresh wave of terrorist attacks. Since then, the Taliban, of course, detonated a bomb inside of the All Saints Church in Peshawar, India, and now, of course, this horrific attack on a mall. The terrorists, when they got inside, were asking the patrons to quote Quranic verses. Now, Kenya has about 80% of its population who profess Christianity, 11% who are Muslims. And the Muslim terrorists wanted to make sure that they were not killing Muslims by mistake, so they were asking the shoppers to identify who Muhammad's mother was. Tell us who Muhammad's mother was. Quote to us from the Quran. Tell us the profession of faith. And if they could in fact do that, they were allowed to leave, and they gathered people together and then started shooting them, just started killing them. One of our staff had the fortuitous opportunity to speak to a Muslim woman from Egypt in line the other day. You mind if I tell this story? And because, of course, that he is a highly educated man, he started asking her questions. Did you know that Muhammad killed people with his own hand? And she and he began to have this fairly lively discussion in line. And she said something very interesting. She told him that she used to go to the Falls Church Mosque. That is a mosque that the U.S. government knows is highly connected to terrorist acts. It's just outside of Washington, D.C. And she said, my family and I stopped going because the imams in that mosque and other mosques in the area are slowly but surely being taken over by members of the Muslim Brotherhood, which should be delineated by our State Department as a terrorist organization. But what she acknowledged was that there is a very strong contingent of Islam that wants to use acts of violence to spread Islam, all right? Now, the funny thing is that she did not want to be consistent with her own historic faith. That aside, the simple fact, the simple truth is that there are verses in the Quran and there are many examples in the life of Muhammad that call for the death of us infidels. I'll read you one as we close this section of the show. This is chapter 5, verse 33. Indeed, the penalty for those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger, that's Muhammad, and waging war could even be just preaching the truth, and strive upon earth to cause corruption, that's theological corruption, is none other but that they should be killed, some translations say murdered, or crucified, or that their hands and feet be cut off from opposite sides, or that they be exiled from the land. That is for them a disgrace in this world, and for them in the hereafter is a great punishment. So Muhammad in the Quran is saying, kill him and send him to hell. Remember, Jesus died to start Christianity. Muhammad killed to start Islam. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, You have to read good books, theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last.
An appeaser is one who feeds the crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. Sir Winston Churchill.
Welcome back to the program, friend. Sheriff Boehner. He's roared on back, and he's got his 6 guns drawn. There's going to be a political shootout at the OK Corral. Boehner has said to the president, okay, we will happily raise the debt ceiling, but we're going to defund and overturn Obamacare. You want to keep the government from being shut down? The end of Obamacare. Well, the bill is on its way to the Senate, all right? Harry Reid has said, look, we're not going to overturn Obamacare. This is meaningless. We're going to run over you if we have to. Ted Cruz, the new senator from Texas, has kind of pulled a feint. I don't even know what to call it politically. It's a very counterintuitive move. Basically, he's saying, let's filibuster the bill before we even have the portions about getting rid of Obamacare taken out. Let's filibuster it as it is to try and strong-arm Harry Reid into allowing an up or down vote on the current bill. Now, let me say 2 things. Number 1, I appreciate Speaker of the House John Boehner and certainly appreciate Ted Cruz, because I believe that Ted Cruz really means it, giving us this moment of high drama. The polling data is showing that more and more people do not want Obamacare. There are huge businesses that are saying, look, we are in a fiscal, financial crisis if you force us to do this. And since our government is continually running out of money, there's a lot of people saying, look, on a strictly economic level, we can't afford this, even if it's a good idea. There's a lot of good ideas that I can't afford, you can't afford, and our government can't afford. Well, be that as it may, Mr. Cruz and Mr. Boehner are doing this for political reasons, not for policy reasons. Do you understand the difference? Let me be blunt. Obamacare is not going to be overturned right now. Boehner is going to blink. Boehner will fund the government, and the House, either in committee or with an up-down vote, is going to agree to withdraw the portions of the bill that call for the overturn of Obamacare. They just are, okay? Boehner does not have the political will to allow the federal government to be shut down. Because if it really was a stalemate, I mean, if it really came to, okay, look, here is the deal, Mr. President. We will shut down the government until you agree to overturn Obamacare. Boehner doesn't have that kind of backbone. So why are they doing this? Well, let me tell you, there's 2 reasons. Boehner's doing it because he's playing to his Tea Party constituents. People are starting to get really agitated with John Boehner, realizing that he's a squish, okay? He's a rhino, Republican in name only. He's the establishment. He's part of how we've gotten into this mess. Ted Cruz, politically, he might be running for president. He might be running for president. Ted Cruz is going to get so much press out of this. He's going to be on so many talking head shows. He's going to be seen as the guy who dared to stand up to Obama, and even though he got defeated, well, at least by golly, he tried. So this is about retaining a base in 2014 and maybe creating one for 14 or 16. Maybe somebody's presidential aspirations are on the line. And the reason I say this to you is very simple. Don't throw money at it. Don't give your money to any causes that say, we can overturn Obamacare, we just need your money. It's a farce, okay? It's a political fundraising mechanism, a way to get votes, a way to get notoriety, and maybe somebody like Ted Cruz could in fact become the Republican nominee and win an election, but that's what it's really all about. It's not about turning over or overturning Obamacare now. That's not going to happen until at least 2016. Let's hope that we get someone in the White House and in Congress who has the brains and the heart to overturn this abomination. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Old Pelosi Hubbard went to the cupboard and said that the cupboard was bare, but it would sure be sweet, and we could all eat if the rich would pay their fair share. Nancy Pelosi making a fool of herself, and I say that in the most kindest of ways, saying that there's just not another penny. In this, what is it, Tom, a $4 trillion budget, we're fiscal? There's not a penny that we can take out. And that the Republicans are a bunch of ideologues, and they want to burn down the whole government, and there's just not another cent that we can take out of this bill. The cupboard is bare. All right, I'm going to use these last couple minutes to get really personal. And forgive me ahead of time if I sound preachy, and forgive me if I jar you a little bit. But some people are called to comfort the afflicted. Sometimes I have the unpleasant task of afflicting the comfortable. The cupboard's not bare. The cupboard is loaded with stolen goods. All right? When Nancy Pelosi and her cronies in the Democratic and the Republican Party, Democrat and Republican Party, want to fill the cupboard up, what do? They go to their neighbor's cupboard, gun drawn, and say, give it up now. I mean, what do you call somebody who breaks into your house, takes half your food, half your clothing, half your money, and then the way out the door, they say, by the way, this is for my aunt who needs an operation, and some of this is for my child who needs a college education, and some of this is because there are people who need food stamps. What do you call that person? You call them a thief, okay? And if they get elected to office and they come around and say, we're taking half your food and half your money and half your clothing, what do you call them at that point? I mean, they're an elected official. You call them the honorable thief? You call them the Speaker of the House? The simple fact is this, folks. Most of us have our hand, or a lot of us, if not most of us, have our hand in our neighbor's pocket. We're taking from our neighbor, whether it's for food stamps or for medical needs or for care of the elderly or for farm subsidies or for ethanol. All right, I mean, go down through the list. Most of the budget, most of what is driving us into bankruptcy, where she says the cupboard is bare, is us taking from our neighbor and redistributing wealth. When we reject the redistribution of wealth and reject the Marxist paradigm and get back to freedom, guess what? The cupboard will be full again. you.